ADHD is a chronic condition marked by persistent inattention, hyperactivity, and sometimes impulsivity. There is a common misconception that ADHD is caused by laziness, poor motivation, low intelligence, selfishness, poor upbringing, and disobedience. Studies show that this is not the case. The three causes of this disorder are hereditary, exposure to toxic substances, and injury to the brain from trauma, brain tumors, strokes, or disease. The first two causes are factors that most commonly happen during pregnancy or in the first 3 years of life. Injury to the brain can happen at any age, but it is not common.
What is the age of onset for an individual with ADHD? Most children are not checked until they are school age, but kids as young as 4 can be diagnosed. Kids with ADHD may have a hard time sitting still, waiting their turn, and not talking excessively. The DSM-5 criteria for ADHD consists of 3 different areas, one being inattention, which consists of being distracted. Second is hyperactivity, which involves being extremely active. And lastly, impulsivity, which is the tendency to act on a whim. A full evaluation from the doctor is needed to be diagnosed. ADHD often lasts into adulthood. To diagnose ADHD in adults and adolescents aged 17 or older, only 5 symptoms are needed instead of 6 needed in younger children. Symptoms might look different in the older ages. For example, in adults, hyperactivity may appear as extreme restlessness or wearing others out with their activity.
What is the prevalence of ADHD? Approximately 11% of American children have ADHD. About 6.4 million American children have been diagnosed with ADHD. There's been a 42% increase in ADHD diagnoses over the last 8 years. Males are far more likely than women to be diagnosed with ADHD. About 12.9% of males will be diagnosed with ADHD during their lifetime, whereas only 4.9% of women will be diagnosed during their lifetime. ADHD is not just a childhood disorder. Around 4% of American adults over the age of 18 have been or will be diagnosed with ADHD. ADHD affects children of all races, with about 9.8% of white children being diagnosed, 9.5% of black children being diagnosed, and 5.5% of Latino children being diagnosed.
Preventions and types of interventions for ADHD. Unfortunately, ADHD cannot be prevented. Genetics is a prime reason as to why some children develop ADHD. The important thing is to keep healthy during pregnancy. Do not drink, smoke, or do drugs while you are pregnant or trying to get pregnant. Once your baby is born, be wary of environmental factors such as lead paint in older homes, lead in imported toys and other baby items. Avoid bottles and microwave containers and other items using phthalates. Make sure your baby or toddler or young child eats a healthy diet and keeps to a regular schedule with plenty of sleep and exercise. Due to not having a schedule, students who have ADHD can become more hyperactive if they're not on a strict schedule. Parent training is a type of intervention. It involves working with the parents and the children together. It trains the parents to interact differently with the children in order to elicit desirable behavior on the part of the child and discourage behavior that is causing them trouble in school or at home.
Most commonly, assistive technology used by students with ADD/ADHD helps them to organize their thoughts and activities. Below are some common examples of assistive technologies used by students with ADD/ADHD. Print or picture schedule, low-tech aids to find materials such as index tabs, color-coded folders, highlighted text, using markers, highlight tape, rulers, etc. Recorded material, books on tape, taped lectures with number-coded index, etc. Also, there's voice output, reminders for assignments, steps of tasks, etc. Electronic organizers, pagers and electronic reminders, single word scanners, handheld scanners, software for concept development, manipulation of objects, software for outlining and organization of ideas, and palm computers. There are also many other common assistive technology devices used by children with ADD, ADHD.